Hey everyone, welcome back. All right, let's see what we're getting into today. So we are going to write the equations of quadratics. So the actual y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So we want the equation, which is going to represent all the possible points in a quadratic. And we're going to do that when given the vertex and a point. So remember, the vertex is the turning point. So it can either be the maximum or the minimum of a quadratic, depending on whether it's U shape or N shape. And then another point could be anywhere else on the function. So the essential question for today, how do I do it? All right, so vertex form. Now, if you're not familiar with this already, you should be. We've seen it before, but if you're not, make sure you take this down because we're going to need to know this formula. So this is vertex form. This is what an equation, a quadratic equation looks like when you pick out all the different variables. So A is your vertical stretch or compression factor. So this is either stretching it long and thin, or it's compressing it down, and we end up with this kind of like dish shape sort of look. So it can be either of those. If it's negative, it's going to flip it over. And then H and K are your vertex. And notice, big one here is notice the minus in the formula. So it's x minus h, which means that whatever our h value is, it will always look like the opposite sign when we're finished our equation. Okay, so here's the equation again, and we're given the vertex of this parabola is at minus 4, 5, and has an a value of 1/2. So subbing in what we know, y is equal to 1/2 for a, x minus -4, because we got to put in a -4 where h is. This is my h, this is my k, and then plus 5. And that double negative is the sneaky one. It's always going to change the sign of whatever your h value is. So this is actually x plus 4 squared plus 5. So sub in, if you're given a, put it in. If you're given h and k, put them in. This is, you're not going to see one like this too often. Normally we're going to have to solve for the a value, but it's a good place to start. And definitely watch out for that negative h. All right, same thing again. We've got y equals a value is minus 5 over 4. We've got x minus the h value is 3, the y or the k value is minus 10. So x minus 3 squared minus 10. So that's our equation for this one. Very straightforward. Now this is the part where it starts to get a little different. So what we're going to do is, if we're given the vertex and a point, we're given the h and the k value, and what we do, we don't know the a, and then the a is the important one because that determines the shape. But what we are given is another point on this curve. So it's like we've got our axes, 3, 4 is the vertex, 2, 6. So it's going to be this U-shaped graph because the point is higher than the vertex. And we need to figure out, well, what is that a value? What is that vertical stretch or compression? So if I sub in the x and y value I know for x and y in the equation, that will leave me with just a to solve for, and I can find out, well, what is that a value? So sub in 6 is equal to, we're going to leave a where it is, x is 2, h is 3, and k is 4. So then I've got 6 equals a times 2 minus 3 is minus 1 squared plus 4. Minus 1 squared is 1. So we're going to 6 equals a times 1 plus 4. Subtract 4 from both sides to get a on its own. 2 is equal to 1 times a, which is just a. So a is 2. Now I'm not done. I was asked to write the equation. So now I sub in my a value. So 2. I go back to y and x again, because that's the actual equation of a quadratic versus like the single point that we had. X minus 3 squared plus 4 would be my final answer. All right, let's try it again. New vertex, new point. So we got h is minus 4, k is 6, x is minus 2, y is minus 6. Minus 6 equals a times x is minus 2 minus -4 squared plus 6. Minus 6 equals a times minus 2 plus 4 squared plus 6. So that double negative became a plus. Minus 6 equals a. Minus 2 plus 4 is 2 plus 6. So now I can subtract 6 from both sides, and I get minus 12 equals a times 2 squared is 4. And then I divide by 4 on both sides, and I get minus 3 is equal to a. So then my equation is y equals minus 3. Go back to x. H was minus 4, so it's x minus negative 4, so that's going to be plus 4 when I simplify it, and then plus 6. All right, let's do another one. I want you to try this one on your own this time, and then come back and see, did you get the right answer? Okay, so we've got h, k, x, y, 7 what we know, y is minus 6, equals a times x is 0, h is 2 squared, and then minus 8. So minus 6 equals a times minus 2 squared minus 8. Let's add 8 to both sides. 2 is equal to a times minus 2 squared, and we already saw that, that's 4. So then I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides, and a half is equal to a. So my equation is y equals a half. Go back to x, minus 2 squared minus 8. All right. So then for tonight, our essential questions, how do I do that? How do I get from knowing a point and a vertex to the actual final equation? Well, I label them x, y, h, and k. I sub them into my equation for a quadratic formula. So that's y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And then I simplify it down. So for tonight, can you please practice the questions that are up on the board?